Okay, so today we are going to go into 14.2 probability of an event. So before this, what we did is we calculate number of outcomes. Now we will calculate the probability. So before we go into calculating probability, we need to know a few terms, which is sample space, concept of probability, probabilities of probability, types of events, and then simple probability and conditional probability. So first, let's go to a few terms. So sample space. What is a sample space? Sample space is a set of all the possible outcomes of an experiment, observation, or situation. There can be finite or infinite. Means finite is there's a limit. Infinite means it's limitless. Example of finite sample space is when we have a fair dice and it is rolled. So the sample space mean apa dia outcome dia. So bila kita roll a fair dice, the outcome can be number 1 or number 2 or number 3 or number 4, number 5, number 6. Sebab dice ada 6 face. Another example is, this one is another sample space. This is for when the situation is the sum of the scores when 2 fair dice is rolled. Means ada 2 dice and then kita roll at the same time and then kita tambah dia punya result dia. So what is the outcomes for that? So kalau ada 2, maksudnya the smallest number you can get on a dice is 1. So kalau ada 2, maksudnya the sum is 2 and the highest number is 6. So kalau ada 2, maksudnya 12. And then in between semua adalah 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why this is the sample space. Means everything that could come from the experiment. An example of infinite sample space is how many times a coin has to be flipped until its first head. So could be, this is infinite because could be you flip the coin just sekali terus dapat head, or you have to flip it 2 kali or 3 kali or 4 kali, or contoh you dah flip 100 kali still asyik dapat tail, tak pernah dapat head. So you know this is infinite sebab kita tak tahu bila dia akan habis. Okay, and then let's go to the definition of event. Event is a set of one or more outcomes of an experiment. So event is in a sample space. In other words, sample space is all the outcomes. Event ni contohnya kita nak cakap E1 is the event where number 1 appear on a dice. So that is event. Maksudnya one of the outcomes. Or 2 or 3. Dia macam set jugalah, set notation. Elementary event consists of one and only one outcome. Okay, so event tadi, ada event yang ada macam, contoh dia nak cakap E2 atau okay, contohnya cakap EA is the event when the number that come up on a dice is 1, 2, 3. So this is an event. An event is in the sample space. Sebab sample space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Elementary event is one and only one outcome. Example of elementary event maybe this one. When the number is 1. So this is what you call elementary event. Example 1, 2. Okay, next, concepts of probability. So what is probability? Probability of an event is the numerical measure of the likelihood that the event occurs. So you actually already know this. Tapi nanti kita tengok probability. 3 approach to probability: classical probability, probability as a relative frequency, and subjective probability. So we just go through. Classical probability is based on situations where the occurrences of outcomes are equally likely. Most of the time, you'll be doing classical probability. So, example, a fair dice is rolled. Find the probability that a score greater than 4 is achieved. So, our sample space when a fair dice is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this is the result. The number of elements for the sample space and of the sample space is 6, but the 6 elements in this set. Let E be the event that the score is greater than 4. Greater than 4 means 5 and 6. So this event, bila dia dapat 5 and 6 is, we will define this event as when we get 5 and 6. And the number of elements in this event is 2. 5 and 6 adalah 2. Therefore, the probability of event is the number in the event that we want divided by the number of the sample space. Number of elements in event divided by number of element in sample space, 2 over 6, 1 over 3. Therefore, the probability of getting a score greater than 4 when we roll a fair dice is 1 over 3. Okay. Next, probability as relative frequency. This one sometimes you will do also. When the outcomes of an experiment are not equally likely, the probability of an event is taken as the proportion of times the outcome favoring the event occurs in the long run. Example. So, to estimate the proportion of defective items in a large batch. So, sekarang ni, contohnya ada kilang and they produce light bulbs or something. Okay, so ada researcher that comes into the kilang. They want to know daripada 100 ataupun berapa persen yang light bulbs that they produce tu akan rosak or defective. So, dia tak boleh nak kira everything that the company semua light bulb yang company tu produce sebab macam beribu-ribu berjuta kan. So, dia akan ambil relative frequency. Or in other words, dia ambil 100 je. And out of that 100, how many are defective? And for example, in this case, they said 2 out of 100 are defective. Therefore, the probability or the proportion that a light bulb is defective is 0.02. Means they estimate for a larger population. We call that relative frequency. Next is subjective probability. This one you will not encounter. It's just like something that is believed, not by mathematical induction. Contohnya, what is the chance of Malaysia winning a gold medal in the Olympic Games? Macam mana nak kira? I don't know. What is probability the population of the world will be 10 billion in 50 years time? So macam like we cannot. This one is maybe macam dikiranya tak. Dia subjektif lah. Dia tak kira like based on data. Dia macam subjective data. Okay, tak apa. Tak ni pun. Okay, next. Properties of probability. For any event, the probability must be between 0 and 1. So, means maksudnya probability cannot be 5 or 100 or 10. It must be 0.2 or 0.5 or 1/3. Means they're between 0 and 1. Okay. The sum of probabilities of all the elementary event for an experiment is always 1. Means semua probability tambah mesti jadi 1. Example tadi, a fair dice. Sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for example, we let the E1 be the event that the number is 1. So E1 kita ada set. This is event 1, 1. And then therefore the probability of E1, maksudnya number 1 appear when we roll a fair dice is 1/6. Sebab 1 daripada 6. And then similarly for all the other numbers. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. The probability of that happening is also 1/6. Sebab dice and 1/6. Therefore, if you add all of those probability, you will get 1. Okay, tambah all the elementary, will get 1. But all the any event must be below. That's why event E ni probability dia is 1/6. Ni pun sama 1/6. So tambah jadi 1. Next, types of event. There are 3 types: complementary event, exhaustive events, and mutually exclusive event. Complementary event of A is denoted by A prime, which is event of includes all the outcomes in the sample space that is not in A. So for example, ada fair dice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We let A to be the event number 1. Therefore, the complementary event, maksudnya yang bukan, maksudnya A prime adalah 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maksudnya kalau A kita kata 1, A prime is semua yang dalam sample space but not in A. So that's why it's 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And bawah ni is just how. Okay, bawah ni I explain a bit lah. So therefore the probability of A prime is n A prime over n S. So kita dah tahu dah ni. Kalau nak tahu, probability is just the number of element in the event divided by number of sample space. So since we want to find probability of A prime, so number element A prime divided by number sample space. Number of A prime tadi we know number of A prime is sama juga dengan number of sample space minus number in A. Sebab A dengan A prime adalah complementary. Okay, and then over dengan NS. So A prime ni ganti dengan ni. And then what happen is I separate this NS over NS minus NA over NS. Okay, NS over NS is 1. This one is NA over NS. So therefore PA prime equals to 1 minus NA over NS is what? PA. This one is a formula which you will use nanti bila you nak kira. Okay, PA prime is equals to 1 minus PA. A prime dengan A is related like this. Okay, next, exhaustive event. Exhaustive events is, the definition is 2 or more events are said to be exhaustive if it is certain at least one of them occurs. Example, a fair dice roll. The event E we say as 1, 2, 3, 4, and F is 4, 5, 6. These are said to be exhaustive events. Why? Why? Because one of them, at least one of them occurs. So mesti sama ada 1, 2, 3, 4 occurs ataupun 4, 5, 6 occurs. Mesti satu akan berlaku. Okay, at least one of them. Kalau you dapat 4, maksudnya kalau dapat ni ada 4, ni ada 4 kan. Kalau you baling dari dapat 4, maksudnya both occur. Sebab ayat dia adalah at least one. Maksudnya sama ada satu or both. One of it must happen. Next, mutually exclusive event. 2 or more events are said to be mutually exclusive if at most if at most one of them occurs. So sama, a fair dice is rolled. The event that number 1 appears and the event number 2 appears is mutually exclusive since 2 numbers cannot appear at the same time. So beza dia apa adalah, contohnya I want to bet, I letak E1 sama dengan 1 appear, E2 sama dengan 2 appear, E3 blah blah blah. Okay, so bila kita roll the dice, okay, contohnya kita dapat nombor 3. So nombor 3 maksudnya bukan yang ni, bukan yang ni. So betul lah, sebab dia are mutually exclusive lah. Sebab dia kata at most, maksudnya yang paling banyak yang boleh jadi adalah satu je, tak boleh dua-dua. Contohnya roll dice ulang sekali dapat nombor 2. So betul lah, mesti maksudnya ini je jadi, ini tak boleh jadi. At most one occurs. Okay, independent events. Independent events are said to be, 2 events are said to be independent if the occurrence of one does not affect the probability of occurrence of the other. Example, when we replace, okay, ada ball, a ball is drawn from a bag containing 3 red balls and 4 green balls. So ada satu bag, and then ada 3 red ball, and then ada pointer, and then ada 4 green ball. Oops, tak nampak. Okay, and then ada 4 green ball. Sekejap, pen. Oops. Okay. So first kita ambil contohnya the first one, dia dapat merah ni. So maksudnya dia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the probability of getting red is 1, 2, 3 is 3/7. Sebab ada 3 red, semua sekali ada 7. Probability of getting green is 4/7. Okay, so dia first time dia ambil, and then contoh dia dapat red. Okay, so maksudnya dia under here, and then 3/7, and then dia masuk balik, the red ball dia masukkan balik. So the second time kita ambil, contohnya you dapat red lagi, so still probability of getting red is still 3/7, means dia punya probability tu tak berubah. Maksudnya bila you dah ambil and then you masuk balik, the next time you calculate balik probability, dia punya number tu tak berubah. Akan ada case when it change, sebab bila you dah ambil and then you tak masuk kembali, so probability dia akan berubah. Contohnya I ambil tadi, first time I ambil, I dapat hijau ni. Okay, so sekarang ni dalam bag tu tinggal ni, means probability semua berubah. Sekarang ni tinggal untuk merah is 3/6, untuk hijau also 3/6, sebab ada 3 dengan 6. Okay, so independent maksudnya dia tak berubah. Walaupun dah beberapa kali buat, dia still, probability dia still sama. Okay, another example of independent events is a coin is flipped repeatedly. The outcome of any flip does not depend on the previous flip. Betul lah, sebab kalau coin, contohnya dah flip kan, and then kalau coin kan dia 1/2 probability untuk dapat heads and tail. So contohnya dah flip sekali, okay, 1/2 probability, and then you flip lagi, still 1/2. Dia takkan jadi 1/3 ke apa, unless kalau coin tu macam kena ketuk ke apa. So still probability stays the same, repeated. Another independent one is sampling from a large population. If ini sama juga macam light bulb example tadi, means to calculate the probability of an item being defective, we take maybe 100 sample from the large population. Okay, and then we calculate the probability. And then contohnya you nak kira lagi sekali, so you ambil another 100 from the large population. This one we say it's independent sebab the population is too large. Okay, so ada 3 case when it is independent, where we replace observed item, the repeated observation of an event, means event yang sama tapi buat lain sekali, and then large population.